Hello, everyone. Let me just, there's lots of people joining. I'm just entering people in as they join. Yeah, making sure everyone's mute. That way you can still enjoy everything that's going on around you. Excellent. Okay. If everyone's familiar with Zoom, you'll be invited to join in the chat. So find your chat button because we'll be using that tonight. All right. Yes. Looks like everybody's in. There will be no doubt people joining in the next few minutes because I don't know about you guys, but whenever you sign into Zoom, all of a sudden it wants you to upgrade your app. And so that can be quite stressful to people trying to join and they're like, oh my God, I've got to jump in. Okay. Yes, it does. I know, it's so crazy, isn't it? It's always when you want to jump in. Now, I'm going to share my screen with everyone. So my face will go to the side. Don't worry, I'm still here. And I'm still going to just keep an eye on the participants entering in as well as we get into it. So let's get started because I have a lot to get through tonight. So welcome to the masterclass on 4 Secrets to Weight Loss Over 40. If you're under 40, that's okay. It still works for you guys too, but I'm pretty sure most of my audience tonight will be over 40. A little bit about who I am. My name is Carly. I'm 48 years old and I live on the Gold Coast in Currumbin Valley with my dog, 2 cats, 4 chickens, a teenage daughter who's 15, and my husband. I love yoga. I'll take you through that tonight. I also love the beach. That's why Queensland's awesome. I love cooking, food in general, basically. I also am a big family person. So catching up with my family, catching up with friends, especially if there's like a nice little margarita waiting. I love educating and teaching others about wellness, especially hormones. And I can do this quite well because I've been a naturopath and nutritionist since 1996. Oh my God. In my career, I have owned a wellness center in Melbourne and become a yoga teacher as well. And I've also launched my own chakra balancing range of oils, lotions, herbal teas, soaps, and more. I've done the whole community farmers market circuit up here on the Gold Coast, which is very exhausting. I do not do that anymore. And since moving back to the Gold Coast, because I lived in Melbourne for quite a while, I moved back through COVID, like most people did, and I am now exclusively online. I don't have my wellness center anymore. I am online. I've helped over 1,200 clients over the last several years, 10 years mainly, in hormone imbalance. I am also a soccer manager for a winning under 15 Premier League girls team here on the Gold Coast. What more can I ask for in my bucket? And I've recently, this year, been nominated in the top 500 health and wellness experts across the globe for Brains Magazine, which I am an executive health contributor to that publication. So tonight, welcome. I'm going to take you on my journey because I'm pretty sure it's going to resonate with a lot of you women today. So I just posted this afternoon on Instagram, if you're following me on Instagram. Who feels a bit like this? Losing weight the old way is like baking a 2-ingredient cake, which doesn't work out, by the way. Look at it, it's like dry. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And so if you are one of these people who have used diet and exercise routines and they still don't work for you, why are we keeping on doing them? So I've seen women fail over and over, and I've been there. I've done that myself. skipped breakfast, hit the gym daily, low-calorie diets, expensive treatments, detoxes, juice fasters. What about sucking all your fat? I've tried all that too. Women over 40 miss out on understanding how hormones actually work. The old diet exercise routine is a 2-ingredient cake, and we know how that's turned out. At our age, we need more than just 2 ingredients to bake our cake. And we also want that cake to be super, super easy to make. And I was fed up of having failed cake attempts. I'm not sure if you've seen that show called Nailed It. Hilarious, hilarious. Everyone thinks that they're a baker, but then anyway, you can go and check that out. So what I did was I biohacked my metabolism. Biohacking is essentially approaching it like a science experiment. And I studied, I researched it, I tested again until I got it right. And tonight is my journey of biohacking, essentially. So when it all started, Houston, we have got a problem. This was me back 10 years ago. As I approached my 40s, I started to discover uncontrollable weight gain. And I was not doing anything different than what I had been doing traditionally, which was, living a healthy life. But I started to gain weight, and I put on about 6 kilos in the space of a year, which is a lot for me. Like, that was unusual. And I would go up and I'd go down, and then I'd go up and then I'd go down, and it was driving me crazy. And I was working, 5 days a week with my daughter in, kindy primary school. I was running my own business, the usual stuff. So yes, there was stress, an obvious thing that most of us on the chat tonight will be resonating with. But why all of a sudden did it all just come on and not be able to be shifted? And this is what I'm going to kind of share with you tonight, my 4 secrets. But before that, back in 2016, I used to run Help My Hormone events down in Melbourne. And one of my many of my Help My Hormone events would get up to 100 people attending. And this was really a good way for me to start educating women around hormones. And around that time, I was struggling with my weight, and I was trying to hack my metabolism. And I discovered that I had hypothyroids, which is low thyroid function, which would kind of, mean, okay, well, that was why all of a sudden my weight was going up. But why all of a sudden, this hormone issue I'd had for a while, according to our research, my research on myself. So I basically focused on women and hormones because I felt like that was my battleground. I was dealing with it, and I really wanted to know how I could help others. But my biggest mistake back then was I had not put it all together. Like, I hadn't put the cake together. I had all the ingredients, but I really didn't understand how to put it together or bake it. I didn't have the recipe. And what I was doing was I was approaching it from top down. So I was working with all the right hormones and the causes of weight. And I had this 3-legged stool, which I'm going to talk to you about later, this analogy. And I was really focused on that. But what I was doing wrong was I was going top down instead of bottom up. And until I discovered that bottom up approach, which is about fixing the foundation, I'm going to talk to you about as well, I really hadn't nailed it. This is all about putting my recipe together. So I have made mistakes, and I am here now to fix those with you. So you're in the right place tonight if you have tried meal plans and exercise programs and they didn't budge, or it did budge when it came back on. If you spent hours at the gym like I have and walk 10,000 steps and do all these challenges and you really don't get any huge shifts in your shape, you might be fit, but your shape doesn't change. And you're in the right place if all of that is all over your head and you are really not weight loss savvy. You don't know where to start, how to start, and who to trust. So you're all in the right place tonight. So a big thank you for all turning up tonight. We've had 120 people register, and right now there's 17 people come. So it takes a lot to get people to commit to actually turning up. And so for my for a thank you for turning up tonight. I'm sending you 2 weeks of meal plan dinners, my favorite dinners that we use in all of my programs. You get them in your inbox, and another really cute checklist, which I created back in 2016 when I was running those Help My Hormone events. And I created a checklist, which was my way of kind of being a perfectionist. And if I put everything down on a piece of paper, then if I could tick all those boxes, then I would be fixed. In my OCD mind, that was kind of what I wanted to do. But I value this checklist, and I want you guys to have it as well. This is like how you can get the most out of your health, not just your hormones, but everything really. So that's coming to your inbox as well. So a little gauge of who's in the room, go to your chat box and tell me if you're a 1, 2, or a 3. Number 1, I'm struggling to lose weight despite what diet or exercise I follow. 2, I don't have time to join a gym or do an hour of exercise. Or 3, gaining weight in my 40s and 50s is inevitable. Nothing can stop hormonal weight gain. And you can be all 1, 2, and 3 as well, which is quite often everyone's case. So 1, 2, or 3, pop in your chat button, introduce yourself, right? 1s, 2s, 3s, 1 or 2s, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, you're just like me. And I'm going to take you through my first secret, which is you don't need to eat fewer calories to lose weight. So biohack number 1, food. This was my first mistake I made when I started to try and fix my weight. I cut my calories too low. I was exploring intermittent fasting, the 5 and 2 diet, like, you know, God knows all of the programs I've tried in my time, which all sounded really super simple. I was like most women, I never felt hungry in the morning, and that was because my thyroid was a little bit low, and so that's pretty normal. And so I was thinking, well, I'll just skip breakfast and I'll have a small lunch and a normal dinner with the family and I'll lose weight, hunky-dory, and that's the intermittent fasting approach, right? And I know some of you in the chat are like this too. In fact, I see it pretty much in 100% of my clients. Even if you're not following intermittent fasting, you're calorie sacrificing or cutting out a meal. If you're doing intermittent fasting, then you need to listen to this to make sure you're doing it right. What I was doing was I was neglecting to recognize my basic survival needs. And when our business, sorry, someone just said, can I miss you saying, but can I please ask if you would be providing our slides? No slides as reference, but there will be a recording of the webinar, so you can go back and have a look at it again. So what I was doing wrong was I was neglecting my basic calorie needs. So this is kind of a word called BMR or RMR. It's resting metabolic rate or basal metabolic rate. And it's just a calculation, a scientific calculation. And essentially what basic survival needs is breathing, heart beating, blood circulation, basic brain function, sustaining your vital organs. In order to do those basic survival needs, you need a certain amount of calories in your diet. And a lot of us don't really recognize that. So this is an example of how it's calculated. You can see that my basic survival needs is 1,200 calories a day. But back then, when I was skipping breakfast and doing the intermittent fasting, I was probably eating around 800 calories a day. If that, because sometimes I will probably forget lunch. So by eating 800 calories a day, I was switching my metabolism off because I was putting my body into what we call starvation mode. And your body will turn off to preserve all of your vital kind of organs. So it's going to reserve all of that calories into just keeping you alive, not into turning on your metabolism, because that's really not important, really. Breathing is. So this is the science, guys, for you to know. When you add in moderate exercise, which we need to maintain muscle mass and health and bone strength, we need to also add some calories in to support that. So if I was to actually just maintain weight, so keep my weight as it is, for me, I would need to eat around 1,700 calories a day. But if I wanted to chip away at some weight, I would take away some of those calories. So I would need to go down in between my maintenance and not below my basic survival needs. So I have this little bucket of calories to work with, okay? So just so you know, the Harvard Health publication suggests that women get at least 1,200 calories and men 1,500 calories a day for survival. And if you go below that for long periods of time or without supervision with an expert like nutritionist or dietitian or naturopath, then you're putting your body into quite a high risk category for lots of things to go wrong. So quickly, you can see that calories matter. You can calorie sacrifice, but if you take too much off, then you'll stop your metabolism and you'll probably stop a lot of basic survival needs as well. And that means you're going to switch off your metabolism and everything's going to be stored as fat. Or you can eat just enough of the right calories to sustain those basic survival needs and still chip it away at some of that stored fat. So it becomes a calculation. And we don't do that often enough when we're looking at what we eat during the day. The other thing that is probably more important than calories is that it's all about the food. I biohacked not only my own body for this, but my family's as well. And this was around the type of food we ate and the amount of macros in those food, which turn out to be way more important than I found than just the calories, counting the calories. But I need you to understand this. So macros are what make up your calories. They're called proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And around that time, I mentioned that I was discovering my thyroid issue, and I spent a significant amount of time researching thyroid. Essentially, I became a thyroid specialist in my field. And a number of amazing doctors and scientists were publishing books back then in around the 2010, 2016. And they were talking about, the impact of gluten and grains largely on the gut and that link between the gut and autoimmune conditions or any type of inflammatory condition of the body. And one of the diets they were suggested was the paleo diet because it removed a lot of the grains, it removed a lot of the inflammatory element from those foods, and it allowed the body to be less inflamed and more in control. And so this essentially was what we started to do in our family. We removed all the grains and we just relied on carbohydrates coming from fruit and vegetables, and we had our proteins and fats. So I've got lots and lots of articles on my website around this on the blog, but essentially this lowered our carbohydrate percentage. Just by removing grains, it allowed our body to drop in carbohydrates and also be less reactive to some of the inflammatory foods and less reliant on some of those, we call them nutrient less foods. So there's no bang for buck in them. They're just filler foods. So food does matter. And I don't recognize what I teach people as a weight loss diet. First and foremost, I see food as preventative medicine. And this is why I love food and I love teaching others about the power of food. When I was biohacking food for my thyroid, my daughter also was young in kindy or just transitioning into primary school, I think, and she had chronic constipation. And I recall every night we'd be sitting on the toilet, she'd be sitting on the toilet and I was sitting on the floor of the bathroom reading her books and waiting and encouraging, and it was a very, very stressful time for her. When we implemented the paleo diet, all of our constipation issues went literally overnight. And we have adopted that approach going forward. So as you can see, if you get your way of eating right, then you can stop all these chronic health conditions, handfuls of medications or supplements that you need to fix health conditions. If you can get the principles right around your food, you really put your body in the best condition. And when your body's in great condition, your metabolism is going to work. And one of the mottos I have is the body does not quick fix, it fixes right. And what that means is that there are no shortcuts in health. All medications, supplements for that matter, should really be used with caution and or relevance. You know, what can you do in order to get the body to work rather than supplement or medicate it on the other end? And that's what naturopathy is, basically, trying to fix the drivers, fix it from the root. Anyway, I digress. Anything basically manufactured likely contains some rubbish that has an impact on your health. And these rubbish ingredients in your foods, and they can also be in health foods quite often, add to your stress bucket. Foods can stress the body out, and that causes inflammation, and then that causes your metabolism to stop. So even these health foods can have rubbish in them. Most have saved money when they manufacture it by using what we call inflammatory seed oils. So things like canola, sunflower seed oil, grapeseed, all of those oils we consider inflammatory. And there's a lot of research around that, and you can read it on my blogs. But just look at the recommendations you see out in the magazines, you know, social media accounts, and I've seen dietitians recommend, and nutritionists also in my field recommend calorie restriction as a diet, as a weight loss approach. What they're teaching you here is you can eat any food you want as long as it's under a certain amount of calories. And that is really like saying, you know, if you're driving a Ferrari, you can use just the generic, like, petrol. Don't worry about the high performance. Your engine doesn't need it. If you put shit in, you're going to get shit result, basically, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know about you, but if I was looking to lose weight, I wouldn't necessarily be thinking, shit, I could eat a 12 and still lose weight. Or what about the cake? You can have a Lamington for dessert because it still fits in your calories. We all know what good foods are. Like, the whole foods there are good, like your apple and your banana. I'm not saying that they're not good foods. What I'm saying is all those other ones basically contain high sugar, high carbohydrates, and a lot of inflammatory oils, and a lot of highly processed grains. So even most of those, even if it was a good grain like oats, you know, it's negligible because most of it is probably highly processed and over, you know, processed at the end of the day. Basically, what I'm trying to highlight here is when our body has to produce all this insulin in order to metabolize those sugars, and at our age, often where we have an inability to process that amount of carbohydrate, we're starting to slow down in that department. All of that spikes your liver to go and move all that sugar that it can't process and put it into a fat storage. Essentially, we're just setting you up for diabetes because your body is really not processing all of that carbohydrate and sugar. So worse, it's creating a whole lot of inflammation in the body, which then your body is fighting all the time rather than focusing on helping you lose weight. It's trying to fight all this inflammatory gunk that we're putting in. And when we do that, we start to open ourselves up for genetic conditions to come in, diabetes, Alzheimer's, you know, cardiovascular disease, a whole lot of other things. So my focus really is teaching you about how our bodies work. The reality is, ladies, that we actually need to understand our hormones more. And nobody teaches this. And this is why I guess my program's are a lot different than others. You know, being, you know, a naturopath and a weight loss expert means that I understand that we have a huge interplay with hormones like insulin, cortisol, and our estrogen. We are all in this room probably either perimenopausal or menopausal. And perimenopause is the 2 to 10 years before we actually reach menopause. It is basically a decline in our sex hormones. And a lot of us don't understand the benefit of some of these hormones. Apart from making babies, estrogen is actually insulin sensitizing, meaning it helps us metabolize all those sugars. But when we start to lose that hormone, we actually start to lose our ability to break down those sugars. So have a look at this. When we eat a lot more carbohydrates or sugars, our body increases our insulin levels. Pretty much everyone here has stress, high stress. So it either comes from environment, family, work, health conditions. Everyone's got high stress, right? And we're losing our estrogen or have lost our estrogen through perimenopause and menopause. When you have high insulin, high cortisol, low estrogen, all that goes on around our belly. And that's what was happening to me. So if you understand that we've got to play with those hormones, and the way that we can make sure that our body has a great chance of using the hormones that we do have, we can control that, not just about the calories, because for me, I don't really necessarily care about the calories as long as you're eating above 1200. What I really care about is making sure that it's the right food and the right macros. And I'm going to take you through what those macros look like. But if we prevent long-term health issues, that's going to be more important than losing weight, right? It's no point in losing weight and looking good if you've now developed, some chronic illness, because you're going to be miserable. So let me know in the chat, do you actually know how many calories and macros you eat? Are you under eating and you know or you don't know? And can you perhaps see that what you're eating may or may not be tipping the scales in the wrong direction for your health, but also your metabolism? Put your hand up if you see all that. Yep. A lot of people probably aren't calorie counting, but if you're skipping your breakfast, I can guarantee you're probably underdoing it. And that's normal. That's pretty much normal. That's why a lot of us are struggling. So this is why I'm trying to teach you tonight. So secret number 2, you don't need to exercise more to lose weight. So no judgment here at all. We're all of different athletic abilities and also have different availability or, flexibility. Our body may be injured as well. Which one here describes you right now? You walk 10,000 steps a day most days. You're a gym junkie and do weights and strength 3 to 5 times a week. And number 3, you don't do any exercise because you've either got an injury or you don't have time for it. Three, 1, 3. No 2s yet? Some 2s. Usually I get a lot of 1 and 2s. But okay, yeah, do exercise, yeah. So I can hear all your cogs ticking over in your head. This is part of the confusion really about losing weight, is that we think sometimes we have to, flog ourselves like a 20-year-old to lose weight. And then we guilt ourselves out if we're not doing that and think, oh, well, it's because I'm unfit and I can't exercise. And so that's probably why, and it's my fault. But a lot of us don't understand how we should exercise. Should it be gentle, vigorous, exhausting, all of above? How much are you meant to exercise? Is it daily for an hour? Should it be a minimum 10,000 steps or a 10K run or a 60-minute CrossFit class? And what exercise should you choose? Should it be Pilates, yoga, walking, strength, boxing, spinning, running, cycling? And how often should you do those? Should it be once a week, 3 times a week, every day? How is that going to impact your day-to-day? How much time are you spending getting to all those sessions? And how does it impact your family and your work? So picture your metabolism as like a car engine. And when you exercise, it's like revving up that engine to hit the road and, zoom around and do all the things you need to do. Initially, everything's going smoothly and your engine is running at its peak performance. But if you keep pushing the pedal to the metal without giving it a chance to cool down, what happens? Well, the engine will overheat. It'll pretty much conk out before you know it. The same thing happens when you overdo it with exercise. So your metabolism can hit the brakes too. it gets overwhelmed, stressed, leads to a slowdown instead of a smooth ride, or worse, it results in injury, pain, inflammation, and then they stop you from exercising. So just like you wouldn't keep, flooring the gas pedal on the car without, giving it a break, essentially to give your metabolism the rest, it needs to keep running effectively. You need to listen to this. What you're doing by over revving the engine is you're adding to your stress bucket. And this was one of my light bulb moments that I biohacked around exercise. And I had an overflowing exercise stress bucket. Back in 2015, I was going full gas, they call it in cycling world. I've always been active. My mum used to run for Australia. My sister used to play basketball for Australia. I was too short for any of those. And so I just was really fit. And I would do, a minimum of an hour of exercise every day. It was all different varieties like HIIT, spin, beach runs, boxing, snowboarding, skiing, I was doing it all basically. And around that time, I had the thyroid issue so I was really focusing on exercising because I couldn't control my weight. And all of a sudden, I just had this massive hip injury. Whilst I was at the gym, I basically blew my hip out. And that was pretty much the end of my gym career, my professional gym career. And then I thought, oh, this is my OCD coming in. This is my perfectionism. I thought maybe I'll go and do yoga because when I was growing up, until I was about 20, I was a dancer. I used to dance. I used to do acrobatics, tap, ballet, jazz, stuff that you do. And I thought, oh, I've got some flexibility, I still love that kind of element of flexibility. So I'll go and I'll do yoga. And then I thought, I love this so much, I'm just going to go and study yoga and become a yoga teacher. And I had this grand idea that it was all going to kind of, help me with my weight loss as well. So here I was doing yoga and walking 10,000 steps because I heard that was really good too. And I was doing all this kind of walking and yoga because I thought that was going to empty my exercise stress bucket. And when I went to Thailand to do my 5 weeks of yoga, they set you up, with like yoga every day, eating like plant-based, vegetarian, no alcohol, massages, sun, sweating. Here I was in this perfect kind of environment where I could just lose weight easily because it was all, love and mung beans. Surely I was going to lose weight, right? But you could see at the start of my yoga teacher training and afterwards, I was still 66 kilos and I was really, really super, super bummed. And I just kind of think, what? I had to go back and hack my balance. I knew it was a balance between doing exercise to build strength and, cardio fitness, but not overdoing it. And then also not underdoing it by just kind of walking and doing yoga. And I had to find this middle ground, right? So back to the drawing board, back to research, back to study. And did you know that most exercise research is done on men, not women? We shouldn't be surprised, right? But that is a reality. So a lot of those gym programs I did, and some of you were doing, are designed based on studies of how they impact men's fat and muscle growth, not women, especially in our age, and our metabolisms and muscle and hormones. And this is why, if you're like me, I trained an hour a day at the gym doing all those different exercises and those 8-week challenges at the gym. And, I'd flog myself to get this, what I thought would be like, this muscly body. And I never got anywhere. And I was like, other than always being injured. So success, I discovered something called metabolic exercises. And it's a science-based program for women that incorporates the latest understanding in endocrinology, health, fitness, strength, and conditioning. It's focused on stimulating fat-burning hormones, and it works by changing your hormones rather than just relying on food and exercise. So this study demonstrated that the way we were exercising, or I was exercising, was just too much, meaning I created too much stress hormone cortisol, which with a drop in my estrogen and that higher carbohydrate diet, that was all resulting in fat gain around the middle, right? Plus all that excessive exercise led to injury and inflammation, which then filled up my stress bucket, stopped me from exercising, and then we just go around and around in circles. The other thing was when I was just doing my yoga and my walking, I was not doing the right exercises to trigger the fat burning hormones. So whilst yoga was great for emptying my stress bucket, it was not doing anything for my metabolism. But metabolic exercises was that perfect middle ground. So metabolic exercises, how is it different to typical gym class? Well, they're 15 minutes in length, no more than 3 times a week. Way different than your standard gym programs out there that are at least 45 minutes long, right? And you're lifting heavy weights. Don't get me wrong, these are lower weights that I'm using here, but they make your muscles burn, it makes you breathless, and it makes you sweat. And when you get those 3 things happening, burning, breathlessness, and sweatiness, you know you've triggered the right fat burning hormones. In short, you're basically doing short duration, high intensity, resistant based metabolic conditioning. And then by the time you finished after 15, 20 minutes, you turn off that. And that means that you're not spiking your cortisol level. So you're doing just enough. You push it until you can't, and you rest until you can. That's basically what we're saying. You push it in those 15 minutes. If you need to have a little rest, you'll see me have a little bit of a leg shake out because my muscles are burning. And then I get back into it. And then at the end of the 15 minutes, I'm done. And I haven't even faced traffic, disrupted everybody in the family schedule because I've got to get kids to school and blah, 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 blah. 15 minutes, I literally roll out of bed, do my exercises 3 times a week, and I've got all that time spare. Look, this is my schedule. I walk on a Sunday. I still do yoga because yoga is very important as well, but I do it for more of my stress bucket emptying my stress bucket rather than metabolic function. So walking, yoga, metabolic exercise, yoga, metabolic exercise, walking, metabolic exercise, 3 sessions of metabolic exercises, and then all the other time is happiness. I get so much more time back. And the research also showed that longer, more traditional forms of exercise, so if you're a runner, jogger, rider, those did burn calories, but they also negatively impacted your hormones responsible for fat loss. Essentially, you are spiking your cortisol level, that's turned off your fat burning, and then essentially it's not resulting in anything other than more inflammation and less metabolic performance. And the other research that aligned with this was it showed that short format techniques like this increased fat burning for up to 48 hours after you'd stopped it. So you do 15 minutes and you're burning for 48 hours. Unlike aerobic exercises that essentially are turning off your fat burning and increasing your cortisol. So game changer for me, and it basically changed my whole metabolism. So there's a caveat. If you want a bodybuilder's body, this style of exercise and diet is not for you. You need to lift heavy weights and you need to eat a lot of food and very lean food. And I've trained bodybuilders. I've got lots of bodybuilders on my books, and I can tell you they're super, super stressed, their bodies. I am not looking for a bodybuilder's body. I'm just a mum. I'm a soccer mum. I just want to feel confident, be able to put a pair of jeans on, maybe go to the beach and feel normal. I just want a realistic, healthy body. And that is what I'm aiming. And also easy to do body. Like, I don't want to be spending every day at the gym. So let me know if this is a light bulb moment for you guys. I gained so much time and money back from not going to the gym. And my body, I just don't get injured anymore. It's I really realized how much I was pushing my body by doing it that way. Right, I'm going to keep plugging along. Number 3, consistent weight loss starts with the foundation. So 3 mistakes that keep you stuck on a metabolic roller coaster. So from a biohacking perspective, I was on top of this and I was actively treating my thyroid condition, but most of you don't really know the nitty-gritty around naturopathy. And so a lot of that is missing from your knowledge base. So number 1, you don't recognize the importance of nutrient sufficiency. So how well versed are you in your own nutrient adequacy? Do you know how much of your key nutrients like iron, B12, active B12, vitamin D, magnesium, zinc, do you know how much of those you've got? Are you managing them? How efficient is your digestion to absorb all those from your food in the first place? With low levels of any of those, your body begins to struggle to manufacture those key hormones, critical for detoxification, supplying cells with raw materials for energy production, immune support, metabolism. What all this means is if you don't have them, stress bucket. Systemic inflammation is not addressed. Well, what is systemic inflammation? And how do you know if you've got it? Well, it just means inflammation throughout the body. This is more of an immune response. Your body is chronically fighting inflammation. So this can be from injury. It can be from autoimmune conditions. It can be from infections. Can be from diabetes, obesity, allergies. If you're taking a drug, it's pretty much an inflammatory condition, essentially. And other key drivers are not being worked on. So what about things like, insomnia, migraines, pain conditions, hormone imbalance, PMS, anxiety, all depression? These are all things that are going to stop your metabolism. And here comes my 3-legged stool. So each leg of the stool represents a major hormone pathway. We've got our adrenals, that's cortisol, adrenaline, keeps you alive. It is pretty much your survival hormone. Thyroid, well, it's responsible for not just metabolism, it's your reflex rate, your heart rate, your growth of hair, skin, and nails. It's your digestion. It helps your bowels move and it helps grow the fetus. When we were growing fetuses, the thyroid was pretty important. It's a growth hormone. And then sex hormones. So this is for making babies. It's essential for making babies. It's estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. And when we're not making babies anymore, our hormone, like estrogen, helps us with sensitivity to insulin. It creates sensitivities in the brain to oxytocin, so that's our pain receptors, dopamine, it triggers serotonin, it helps with bone health, metabolic rate, and we also need it for libido. Too little estrogen can cause depression. Too much estrogen can cause histamine release. So what if there's a wobble in one of the legs? The stool's got to fall over. It's getting wobbly. Which leg do you think in your head is the most important? In your head. If you thought adrenals, oh, Libby, that was a quick typing, but you're wrong. I know, thyroid's pretty amazing. I love the thyroid. I could talk about thyroid for hours and hours and hours, but it's our adrenal legs because remember, it is our survival hormone. Therefore, it is more important than making babies, growing hair, skin, and nails, and therefore more important than our metabolism. And this, ladies, is how stress turns off your metabolism. If we can stop this adrenal leg from wobbling, we can essentially stop it from turning off your metabolism. And by default, fixing all the other things that the thyroid and the sex hormones need to do. It's kind of like magic. Okay, so how do we stop this adrenal leg from wobbling? Well, the gut. Well, that seems really, really simple, Carly. What do you mean? The gut's just for digestion, right? Nope. It is actually so important to your success that is overlooked in every single weight loss program out there. No one is fixing your foundation. This is really where your long-term success comes from, and your control. So how is the gut and adrenals intertwined? Well, the gut plays this crucial role in stress management. In addition to supporting the immune system, digestion, mood, In one way, the gut impacts the adrenal function is through the production of hormones produced by the adrenal glands that help you regulate stress and cope with stress. So we also additionally know that the gut, unhealthy guts can lead to inflammation, which is that systemic inflammation piece, and that can further lead to stress and then further wobbling our stool. And we know also that when you're not digesting your food properly, you're not getting the nutrients, and when you don't have those nutrients, you go back into that stress cycle. We know that the gut and the brain's interconnected, very well researched, the gut-brain axis. So it's got an integral part in managing neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine. These all help us go to sleep, cope with anxiety, be more happy. So we need a really, really good foundation. Who can recognize if their wob's a little wobble, if their stool's a little bit wobbly? All answers are relevant. I've had a few funny ones in the past where like their stool's rolling down the hill and there's no legs left. So yes, it is a pretty important one, and we all have a wobbly stool. And it's not like if it's once you fix it, it stays fixed. It's a constant thing. You always got to be helping that foundation. So my last secret, and this is my biohack number 4. It came last for me, but this is how it's supercharged my control and stability. It's called fat adaptation. Well, what are the benefits? So 5 benefits of being fat adaptation. You have more energy, reduced cravings, better clarity in your head, better stamina, and you can help to lose weight. Bonus. So fat adapting takes time, and it's basically just a strategy. It's a strategy that is overlaid with diet, exercise, and fixing the foundation. So what does fat adaptation actually mean? Fat adaptation is one's ability to convert fat to energy. So when a person is fat adapted, they don't need this steady stream of carbohydrates or glucose like we rely on during the day to feed or fuel their body. Instead, you can tap into that more abundant energy supply, our own body fat. And that's the stuff that we want to get rid of, right? So your ability to utilize fat depends in large on the hormone insulin, which we've talked about already before. When insulin levels are low, like when we are fasting or we're in a low carbohydrate diet or taking our body down into something called ketosis, essentially that's a process of breaking down fatty acids and burning those into things called ketone bodies. When we have high ketone bodies, we burn fat, stored fat better. So can you be fat adapted and not do a keto diet? Yes, you can. And there's reasons why I do not recommend a keto diet, because it starves out the bacteria in your gut that we are trying to fix. So there's a fine line between how much carbohydrates and how low you go. So being fat adapted simply means that you can access that fat and use it as energy. It doesn't mean that your body's going to avoid using glucose when it becomes available. But once you've mastered fat adaptation, and that usually takes only about 4 weeks, by the way, having carbs now and then, provided it's not excessive for days and days and days and days and days on end, you don't have any problem when your body goes back into eating fat or being fat, in your fat strategy. This means like you can go out for a week, girls' weekend and drink margaritas and have some pizza, and it's not going to basically derail all of this, effort that you've put on. And that's what basically derails a lot of us, is like we work so hard to lose weight, and then we go on a 4-week holiday and then it just goes out the water, and then you like feel guilty because no. If you become fat adapted using simple techniques, it doesn't matter. Your body is going to burn through those glucose and carbohydrates really quickly to get back to its fuel source. And this is about retraining your body. We're actually telling your body to do something different. This is stopping the old techniques and retraining it to do a new trick. Us old girls have got some new tricks up our sleeves. So 3 ways you can trigger fat adaptation. There's more ways than 3, by the way, but here's some really simple ones for you to take away tonight. When you do your exercise, you do it fasted in the morning. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but a lot of people still go to the gym in the afternoon, and that's like useless. You want your body to use stored fat as fuel after that exercise is done. Even better when you're using this with like an intermittent fasting schedule. So you're exercising when you wake up in the morning, and then you've got all that energy there that is coming from your fat. Eating less carbs. Well, this is kind of obvious by now. We've talked about lowering your carbohydrates, but we want to lower it below 80 grams a day. This means that we're not going too low, starving out the good bacteria, but we're not too high where your body's constantly trying to produce insulin to break down the glucose. And if you're becoming resistant to it because, hello, we're menopausal, perimenopausal, it's not going to turn into belly fat. Okay, so we want to aim for under 80 grams. And the good news is that if you follow a paleo approach, so you take the grains out, that drops you automatically down below 100 grams. So it's very, very achievable to get to 60 to 80 grams a day in diet just by taking out grains. And you can be even more specific about taking, higher carbohydrate vegetables and fruits out and just maintaining those fruits and vegetables on the lower carbohydrate end. Number 3, eating more fat. Well, that's obvious because if you're cutting your carbs, your body's going to be filling up on proteins and fats. And that's perfect because that's what we want our body to look for. It wants fat as its fuel source. If we give it more fat in our diet, so healthy fats like avocado, nuts, seeds, coconut oil, olive oils, olives, all the feeds in my head, I can't remember. They're all going to be really beneficial for your high density lipid cholesterol, and it's also going to feed your body energy. So can you see how triggering your body to use stored fat as fuel is going to help you not only burn more fat and lose more weight, it's going to stop that uncontrollable weight gain, but it's going to give you more control back. When you master this, you unlock your I've nailed it and I'm not even trying to lose weight and my body just maintains weight scenario. And that's what the key is, because you basically are trying to maintain long-term weight loss without sacrificing your social life and freedom. So it's key, this part. Okay, let's get into the last little bit. I want to recap. You don't need to eat fewer calories to lose weight. You just need to eat the right amount of calories and macros. So don't go below 1200, just go above that, depending on your age, height, and sex, but higher fat and protein, less carbohydrates. Follow a paleo approach. You don't need to exercise more to lose weight. You just need to do those 15 to 20 minutes of those high impact resistant style training 3 times a week. Rest. This is called rest-based training. You work, you push until you can't, and then you rest until you can. And this gives us a lot better response with regards to our metabolism because we're decreasing that stress bucket, but we're triggering the fat burning hormones. Number 3, consistent weight loss starts with the foundation. Without building the strength and integrity of the microbiome, then we don't support the critical pathways responsible for keeping the lights on for our hormones, immune system, and metabolic processes. When we fix this first, the diet and exercise are able to work in synergy with one another. And often I see a whole lot of symptoms go by just fixing the foundation: headaches, insomnia, sugar cravings, bloating, IBS, you name it. And number 4, when we put it all together with exercising fasted and, eating lower carbs and higher fats, along with other fat triggering tools, we have this magic metabolic alchemy, and you can afford to have those days off where you're socializing and having flexibility and freedom. So I just showed you how you could take these secrets and adopt them or integrate them into your day-to-day to do what I have done, you now can be stable, in control, and maintain weight effortlessly without putting more effort in. So by applying these tools or these disciplines consistently, you're able to kind of live a more free metabolic life, for want of a better word. You're going to be healthier and you have more freedom. But for the give me the whole solution people out there that already done for me women, this sometimes is like a scenario I had in the last 6 months where I decided that I was going to build a whole new website. And I've built 6 websites before. I don't know. I don't know why I do that. Anyway, so last year I decided I'm going to rebuild a whole new website and using this new software tool, which looks really, really easy. And I just bought a template kit and I thought, well, I'm just going to cut and paste. It's probably going to take me 2 days, cut from the old into the new. With this new template, it's going to be easy. Wrong. I had the option to get somebody to do the work for me back then who knew that software package. But because I thought I've already done it before and it doesn't sound that hard, I'm just going to do it myself. Well, I wasted more than 2 months doing it myself. I had a number of days when my site went down. My stress was so bad. I had a chronic neck issue for a month. I was getting 3 adjustments a week. I couldn't sleep. It was literally the worst 2 months of my life. Fast forward to just the other week, and I've now decided I'm going to build a new app for the business. And here I was again faced with this, buy the template and do it yourself or pay for somebody to do it option. And for about 5 minutes, I hesitated and I looked and I thought, oh yeah, I can do it looks pretty simple. It's a template. I've just got to do all of those instructions. Then I looked at the instructions and it was like about 5 pages long. And each of those pages had like 3 pages in those pages. And I was like, remember last year when you built that website? I do not need to be an expert in app development, just like you don't need to be an expert in putting together a weight loss program. So I created it for you. So give me the easy option solution, please, Carly. Something that provides you the support for your foundation, fixing those niggling health issues that are stopping you from optimal health. Time-saving ways to help with exactly what calories and macros should be eaten, how much, when, and the right approach. And the right metabolic exercises to avoid getting confused with where to start, what to do, and how to do them correctly. So if I gave you, and that's only a snippet of it, if I just gave everything to you, the steps, the processes, the strategy, the how to do it, when to do it, literally you just turn up on the day, you do this, and then you're done. How would that you show up differently? How would that save so much stress in your life? I wish I had that when I went through this 10 years ago. If someone had said, I've already figured it out, I've biohacked women's metabolism over 40, just give me the steps. How important is this for you? You registered for this like masterclass, so you must be already pretty motivated to help, get some answers for you. How much time and energy are you already spending on trying to figure it out and doing things that you've done before that didn't work or didn't sustain the result? By the time you take away the secrets from tonight, create the what and the how and the strategy and the steps to do it, design it all. Those who do my package would have already lost 4 kilos. It literally is that quick. So the good news is you don't need to figure it out. I've already created it for you. And it's tried and tested. Hundreds of women have been through this solution and they get results 100% of the time. And these are not just small results. These are life-changing results like this. Here is a couple of my all-stars. And these are the standard weight loss expectations in 4 weeks. So my solution works, and it works pretty much immediately. Having proved it time and time again, Danielle, 5 kilos in 4 weeks, Vanessa, 7 kilos in 4 weeks. And these are fit women, and they weren't, not trying. These were women who were already going to Pilates, already walking 10,000 steps, already having a healthy family meal. But when they put it all in together, they got the results. But warning, this is not for you if you want a self-paced online course that you can do at your own pace. Whilst there's elements that are online, it's actually a coaching program. It's actually a full expert coaching program. You're not left to your own devices. Your protocol and instructions, whilst they follow the methodology, they're tailored to you. So you get individual one-on-one time with me personally each week, making sure that I am tweaking and biohacking your metabolism with you, teaching you the lessons. And so you now take away the learning after that. You don't get that if you do self-paced courses, because you don't have an expert there that knows what to look for. You feel like you don't need a gut support to fix the foundation. Well, even if you knew your gut was amazing, what this methodology and this process aims to do is provide ongoing adequate support to the foundation for the best function of your whole body and its overall health. So this is like oil for the car engine. It's always needed to help, right, running the car engine smoothly. So we're always going to keep it in there, especially if it's going to stop that wobbly legs, the wobbly stool. And it's also not great for those who just kind of want to put another package on their shelf and they'll get to it later, they'll just read about it and you kind of do little bits as you go through. Often just learning something does not translate to achieving something. So this is not a learn first and do it later course. It's not like you do the course and then you go and apply it. It's a do it now solution with an expert, me, at the helm, and you do everything on day one. So you learn on the job. You become a master of your metabolism whilst actually biohacking it with me at the same time. And it's called Metabolic Alchemy. And it is a 4-week fast-tracked course specifically designed to stop uncontrollable weight gain, start losing weight by triggering fat adaptation without you having to do all the hard work of calculating your own calories, macros, designing meal plans, joining a gym, finding all those exercises. It's all about getting results from day one. So you get it all right from the beginning, not in stages. So we're fixing the foundation. We're creating that winning microbiome, giving it the love it's needed, to boost your metabolism and feed the fire to keep it burning. It comes through introducing the right nutrient-rich foods, increasing your digestion, healing and repairing the gut, and fixing the microbiome. We're going to eat the right amount to nail your forever diet, which is not really a diet, with easy to follow recipes tailored to you and your family, unique to your own calories and macros to help you lose weight, incorporating powerful phytonutrient-rich foods and removing all of the problem ones. Yep, I calculate all the calories and macros for you. I could then curate your own meal plan for you each and every week. So it's not off the shelf, everybody gets the same one. I work with you to make sure everyone in the family is happy, because let's face it, no one wants to cook 2 meals. And it means it's interchangeable. So every week we tweak it, we adjust it, and we make it fit for you. So you have this amazing recipe book at the end. Exercising the right way. So get time back in your day and week by doing just enough of the right stuff and not too much of everything else. And finally, be injury-free. And the best part about it is you get to do all of those from home and you don't have to travel, and you get all of the exercises and videos and modifications straight to your device. And lastly, become fat adapted, because frankly, it's nothing if we can't control it long term. So losing weight and keeping it off, even when not trying, as your body turns into a fat-seeking magician using simple fat adaptation tools you master from day one. So quick little success story. One of my Megans, I've got lots of them, 44, she joined, she had gained 10 kilos in 18 months. She was always hungry, craving chocolate. She's got 3 teenage kids and a high-stress job, pretty much like most of us, right? Except for the kids part for me. So she committed to the 4 weeks and she lost 4 kilos in the first 4 weeks, and then she's gone on to lose 14 kilos in 22 weeks. Now, that is a totally achievable, realistic outcome. Pretty much that is 100% of people in the course. They're women like you and me. They're looking for just, maybe even just getting down a dress size. And then they're all of a sudden changing their life because now they're completely revolutionized the way that they live their life around food and exercise. So what you get when you join, I mentioned that you get expert coaching with me. I'm not passing you off to one of my support team. It is with me every week. You get 4 coaching calls plus an onboarding call with me, and I make sure that I know everything about your body. You get 4 weeks of meal plans. We do them one at a time. We tailor it to you. We make it right. You get access to an app. Everything is on our app. We have a journal where you just tell me everything that you're doing based on what I'm teaching you. Then I know exactly that you've hit all your milestones and your tasks. And when I look at your results at the end of the week, I can, like the matrix, look through all of that data and go, this is where your bottlenecks are. Let's fix it for next week, and then we'll see how we go. So by the end of the 4 weeks, you have literally biohacked your body. It took me 2 years to do it, and I'm going to teach you how to do it in 4 weeks. It's evergreen. So all of the content, I educate you. There's lots and lots of content there for you to sift through and understand and educate on, but all of this is evergreen. So you have access to it the whole forever until the app breaks down. No, I'll give you access again. You get all the metabolic exercise for the first month. So you get 3 exercises to do every week, working different muscle groups. So you do not waste muscle. You are building muscle. Trust me, I've got muscles still. And I'm lifting less weights. So you get all those that you can do from home. Plus, you also get yoga. Yay, what's life without yoga? You do not need to do the headstands. These are all yin classes, by the way. So these are great for de-stressing your body. You get stress and meditation breathwork videos because everybody needs to understand stress, like I talked about. Then the biggest thing is this week I'm promoting the program because we're about to enter into our final program week, meaning this is your last chance to jump on board because I'm about to go and focus on building that app with the app peoples. So I have got 5 spots left because we're already at capacity. We've got 30 women already involved this month, and I've got another 5 spots. So bonus, if you sign up within 24 hours, I'm going to throw all of the gut healing products that we use in the course. You don't have to buy them. I'm going to buy them for you, and I'm going to ship them express so they're on your door within 2 days. That means when you start the program, you have all of the Fix the Foundation stuff already there, and you don't need to do anything else. And I'm going to sweeten it up because I'm actually going to send you the collagen protein powder along with it, because this is part of our diet. We use collagen-based protein powder because it's got all the branched chain amino acids to help you build muscle, not cannibalize it. And it's not inflammatory. It's going to build up all of the collagen that we're losing because we're getting old and it comes from our face, but we're going to pump it all up and we're going to use collagen in our meal plans. So I'm going to send you 2 months of that if you sign up within 24 hours. So I'm putting the link into the chats. I'm going to talk a little bit about the price, but first I do that, I'm going to take you through my other Megan, because look at her. She just sent me this. Oh, you can't see here. This is before. She sent me these a couple of days ago, and this is her now. She went to a 1920s ball. Look at her shape. She lost 8 kilos in 15 weeks. She's now lost 10 kilos in total. She looks like a different person. Even her husband smacks her on the bum. She said she's loving getting the attention. She used to have migraines every day, and she hasn't had a migraine since. And it's been, months and months and months. So a quick recap. If you sign up within 24 hours, I'm going to give you all of the program, the coaching with me, everything included, plus all of your products. So you don't have to think about anything. You basically you're in and you're getting results within 4 weeks. So this is well over $2.5 grand worth of coaching. And I'm giving it to you for $9.99. And if you sign up within 24 hours, you get all those products as well. Okay. So it's saving you a bundle. If you pay in full, you save another 10%, by the way. Otherwise, we do have payment plans available. So you can do a payment plan option. And even better, if you're with Australian Unity or NIB, there is a healthcare rebate option for you to choose as well. Not all health funds, sadly, rebate nutrition telehealth, but these two do. So if you've got one of those health funds, then definitely get your $400 back a year that you spend on it. That's a huge, huge savings. So because this is my last intake for Metabolic Alchemy, I'm going to throw in a final sweetener. If you sign up before the end of our Q&A, I'm just about to open up for some questions. If you sign up before the end of that, I'm going to, and I'll be able to tell because it's messaged me in the system. I'm going to throw in an extra week of coaching. So it's not going to be 4 weeks. You're going to have 5 weeks. You're going to have 5 weeks to nail that and biohacked metabolism of yours. That's an extra $250 worth of coaching on top of it. So huge amounts of savings. So I want to give you as much opportunity. The links are in the chat. It takes you through my booking page. I'm going to stop sharing and put up my face. My face is going to be up front and center, and I'm going to look at all the chat questions. So I saw a few, and I'm sorry I didn't stop because I knew I had to just keep going to get to the end. If you exercise whilst fasted, wouldn't you burn muscle, not fat? Well, not necessarily. When you don't cannibalize your muscle if you eat during the day. Remember, we're just tapping into your stored fat as energy for a brief period of time. You're still going to eat afterwards. You're still probably going to eat within a couple of hours after you're exercising. That means you're going to be repairing, rebuilding your muscle, not cannibalizing it. So no, you're not going to burn muscle. If you skip meals and you undereat, under calories, you definitely will burn muscle for sure. Gut-brain connection, so important is that? Yes, gut-brain connection is important, Laura, and ketosis is helping maximize your brain clarity and function as well. Your brain loves fat, by the way. My parents are in their 70s and they are using my fat adaptation techniques, and they have much more. Well, I can tell because sometimes our conversations in the past tend to kind of waver off and repeat, like they've already told me that before. Now I don't notice it as much because I'm getting them taking more fat in their diet. So it's huge for brain, memory, stamina, concentration. Can you expect to lose weight with the exercise plan or just maintain, assuming the nutrition is the same? I'm not sure, Russell Matthews, that might be not Russell, but maybe Russell's wife. No, you can't lose weight with just exercise and nutrition. And this is why I talk to you about fixing the foundation and becoming fat adapted, because without fixing the foundation, you're not plugging all of those metabolic roadblocks like nutrition, hormones, immune system, inflammation. You can't rely on your body to lose weight if it's got all of these things it has to fix. If you fix the foundation, you fix your hormones, your inflammation, all of your nutrients, all of those, then you create this amazing platform for diet and exercise to work on. So I really don't think you can do it with diet and exercise, because otherwise it would have worked, and it didn't. I had to keep digging deeper and come from the ground up. So remember, I said I was doing the top-down approach, but it wasn't working. I had to come from the ground up. Thanks, Laura. Have a good dinner. What other exercises have we got there? Questions. I've got heaps and heaps of past questions around, can they do it if they're vegetarian? Yes, we can. We can still do calories and macros designed around vegetarian meals. Can you do it how good is it for things like endometriosis and other hormonal disruption? This is huge for those hormone conditions, by the way. A lot of it comes from the microbiome. So it can help with huge amounts of a hormone and chronic health conditions as well. Digestive issues. I have many restrictive food can be. I have so many IBS clients. Yes, it can be completely tailored. I work with people who have got Crohn's, colitis, SIBO, and so we tailor it around that. We definitely tailor it around that because I don't want that was obviously is going to stress your body out if we put in foods that your body cannot metabolize. So we do tailor it for that as well. Elaine, I'm 69. Yes, Libby, my mum is 73 and she does this. 73. She's still doing the metabolic exercises. She eats this way. And in fact, she's eating more because she was under eating. So definitely this is something that you can use and modify in your 70s for sure. Yes, fibromyalgia, and again, this is chronic inflammatory condition. When you eat paleo, huge amounts of research around fibromyalgia and paleo, by the way. So just by fixing the foundation, so doing the gut protocol and using the food tailored that we're using, you're probably going to find a lot of your pain receptors and inflammation are going to decrease. So good one for fibromyalgia, Anika, but you cannot eat brown rice because that is not paleo. It's gluten-free. Look, I'm not saying rice is bad, but what I'm saying is take out some of these inflammatory foods and high carbohydrate foods and just eat whole foods like fruits, vegetables, proteins, and fats, and just see after 4 weeks how your body responds. You're never going to know unless you try it. And it's not hard. It's not as hard as you think. And the food is actually super, super enjoyable. I've got fussy children in people's families and husbands, and they all are eating the meal plan foods as well, and they love it. I get requests every week. So don't think that because you're going paleo, you're going to go boring. No, in fact, it is so much easier, quicker, and enjoyable as well. Any other questions, guys? I know I've taken up 75 minutes of everyone's time. No more questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. There's going to be emails out, obviously, so please feel free to ask me any questions on email, and I'm happy to answer those and make sure that you're feeling confident around any questions that you need. So good night, everybody, and it's been a pleasure sharing my journey with you.